Me on my right is Lieutenant Brian Tanzi. He is the Deputy Commander of the 6th District. On my left is Assistant Chief Maurice Witt. He's been coordinating the fire rescue effort for us here in getting inside the residence. So when you're ready.
We're ready.
Ready. All right, I'm Captain Darren Frank, FRENCKE, Montgomery County Police Major Crimes Division. On 3/29 of 2016, we responded here with fire rescue for a fire. Upon arrival, fire rescue made contact with two roommates who were able to escape the townhouse. When they met with them, they advised that there was a third roommate that was in the basement, possibly. Fire rescue did their best to get the fire under control, but it was an intense fire. They were able to confirm that the third roommate, or possibly the third roommate, was deceased inside the basement. Once the fire was under control, fire rescue monitored the situation and was able to stabilize things enough that on March 30th, we were able to remove those remains from the basement and transport them to the Maryland Office of the Chief Medical Examiner for autopsy. On March 31st, an autopsy was conducted. I don't have a ruling on that autopsy at this time. I don't have any details on that autopsy at this time. But what I will tell you is that currently we are investigating this as a suspicious death, and we're treating it as a homicide. Again, we treat all of our suspicious deaths as homicides. There's many things that we're doing during the course of this investigation. One of those things, because of the fire, it's very difficult to get inside of the structure. Fire rescue has worked with us and collaborated to shore up the insides of the townhome so that we can get in with their fire marshals to work on determining a cause of the fire, and also with our forensics people and homicide investigators to further look at the scene to see what kind of evidence we can find. Right now we're going to identify the deceased. We were able to identify him early this morning. His name is Steven Scalabrin. His name is spelled Steven Scalabrin. He's a 63-year-old white male. He did reside in the residence, and we have contacted his family and unfortunately let them know that we have confirmed his passing in this fire. Our operations will continue throughout today. We have a goal of perhaps being done with our investigations on the scene by Wednesday evening, but it's a fluid situation. Just depends on the other things we find in the house and making sure that the house still remains stable for our folks to be in there. We also want to thank the ATF who has offered some technical assistance, which they routinely do on these fire investigations. And again, I can't emphasize enough the job that Montgomery County Fire Rescue and the Fire Marshal's Office is doing to assist in this investigation and determine what happened here. If there are any questions, I have limited information, but I'll answer them as best I can.
Darren, two questions. What is it that made this fire suspicious? And can you tell us anything about the condition of the body? Like, was anyone able to see sort of blunt force trauma or anything like that?
The only thing I can say is it took us until today to identify the body due to the fire, and that was done through fingerprints. So unfortunately, Mr. Scalabrin did suffer burn injuries. That's all I can say at reference to that.
And what turned the tide making this suspicious?
Just observations on the scene and observations at autopsy, but again, I can't go into the specific details.
Do you have a person or people of interest at this time?
Right now, we're looking at many things, and that's a great question, because the other thing I'll say is if there's anyone that had contact with Mr. Scalabrin in the days or day of the fire, in the days preceding or the day of the fire, or if they have any information, if they could contact the Montgomery County Police Major Crimes Division at 240-773-5070. We're interested in hearing from people that had interaction with Mr. Scalabrin so we can continue to narrow down his activities and what he was doing up until the time of the fire.
Are the two housemates considered people of interest?
We've interviewed the two housemates, and again, the investigation's ongoing.
Who was he? I mean, was he a retired man? Did he, have a career? Any family in the area?
There is family in the area that we contacted. I don't want to go too much into his personal life at this point.
Do you expect there to be arson charges as well involved with this?
Again, it's very early. We don't know. We don't know. The fire marshals are doing outstanding work and will help fill us in on those details.
Do you know when the autopsy will be done?
Well, the autopsy is complete. As far as a ruling, we are working with the OCME, providing them some answers to questions they have. So it could be a while before that occurs.
So would you say that this was an arson to cover up a crime that happened prior, or was this an arson that also caused death?
I don't want to speculate at this point. We've got a lot of work to do. There's many things that we have to do inside, obviously. Today was the first day we could really get inside and do forensic examinations, so there's a lot of work to be done.
Captain, I believe the fire department said last week that this gentleman's body was found on the first floor of the home. Is that still accurate, or was it
In the
down
basement.
In the basement?
In the basement.
So his body was found in the basement.
Correct.
Had they been living together for a while? Do you have any idea how long he'd been here?
Mr. Scalabrin's lived here for a while.
A few years, or?
I don't want to say specifically because I can't be for sure, but it's definitely over a year. It's owned by another gentleman. I'm not going to identify him at this time. These were all roommates. He rented out rooms, rented out different rooms inside the residence.
Nobody that was involved in the fire actually was the owner of that property.
Nobody that was on the scene at the time of the fire was the owner.
Is there anything else that makes this case unusual to you?
Well, I think in Montgomery County, it's not often that we have fires that result in these deaths. Luckily, and certainly the fact that we're looking at it as a suspicious death. We had one last year, and we have this one this year. There's a lot of work to be done, and they're difficult scenes. But again, we have the expertise here of fire rescue and of our technical folks that will get there. It's a lot of efforts going into figuring out what happened so that we can tell Mr. Scalabrin's family what occurred.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.